In this clip, I'll be talking to you about the threshold of zakat. Now, previously we mentioned about possession or ownership. Here I'll be talking to you about the threshold. In Arabic, threshold is called the nisab. What this basically means is the amount you have to have before zakat becomes necessary upon you. So let's say, for example, threshold is that much. Okay, that's the amount that you need to have, at least minimum amount, before zakat becomes necessary upon you. Now in Islam, the threshold, types of threshold for zakat are several, but the ones that concern us are two. Okay, gold and the other is silver. Okay, these are the two which will concern us, gold and silver. Now, how do you work out the threshold, or what is the threshold of gold and silver? Basically, how it is that gold, threshold of gold is 87.479 grams. Okay, so this is the threshold of zakat, meaning that if a person, let's say, was to have, let's say this is 0, this is 50, this is 100. So let's say a person had this much, about 87, this is the threshold. So if someone had this much gold, another color, then that person would have to give the zakat for that. Okay, this is the threshold, 87.479 grams of gold a person needs to possess. And silver, the nisab for silver is 612.35 grams. So again, if a person was to, let's say, this is our chart, person had more than this much or more, let's say 700, and this much is the nisab. So if a person has more than 600 or owns more than 612 grams of silver, then that person would have to give zakat. So it's pretty easy. I think the nisab, understanding the nisab is pretty easy. Gold 87.479 and silver 612.35. Now this is easy if a person only possesses gold or only possesses silver. Let's say if a person possesses, let me go down a bit, let's say if a person has money. So a person has, just draw some notes here. Okay, so a person has, this is money, and how much would a person need to own of money if he was to give zakat? Now the scholars say that the money, okay, the threshold for money is actually the threshold for silver. That's quite easy, isn't it? So the threshold for silver was how much? Was 612.37 grams. Now the problem is that money is not in grams, it's in pounds. So how much pounds would we need to equal 612.37? Okay, what you do is you have to go onto a website and find the rate of silver. So what's the silver rate today? And if you go onto one of the websites, you can find, which I've found is at the moment is 556.88 per kilogram. Okay, 556.88 pounds per kilogram of silver. And let's just change that into grams. The way we do that is simple. Okay, just move it back to decimal, 0.88 per gram. So now what we do is we multiply this number by this number and we get our answer. So if I get the calculator, 55688 times 612.37 equals 341.01. Let's say 02. So that's 341.02 pounds, and this is the nisab. Okay, this is the threshold. So that's how we do it. So let's say, for example, let's say this is our chart, and you have 0, you have 200, and you have 400. Okay, the threshold is roughly about there. So the threshold is there. Then what we do is we say that if a person has money which is equal or more than 341 pounds, then that person would have to give zakat. Okay, and that's how you work it out. Now another issue is left, which is what most of us face. Let's say a person has different types of wealth. So let's say a person has money, and a person may have some gold at home. Person may have some silver, so let's say some silver too, and a person may have, let's say, some goods, shopkeeper, or has got a business and has got goods for sale. Okay, these goods also need to be totaled. So what we do is we add them all up. So let's say he has 100 pounds, and let's say 50 pounds worth of gold, 50 pounds worth of silver, and 200 pounds worth of stock. Okay, let's draw our man first. Okay, so how much zakat does he have to give, or does he have to give zakat? Okay, because they're different amounts, and they don't reach the threshold individually. Because remember, the threshold for money was 341, for gold was 87 grams, and for silver was 612 grams, and for money goods itself. So what we do is we add all them together, and if you add them all together, let's say we get 400 pounds. Okay, 400, and 400 is actually more than the nisab, because the nisab is 341, and that's the amount we use as our nisab. 341.02 is our nisab, and if a person has wealth which is more than that, then he has to give zakat. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just one matter I just want to make a little clear, which is when calculating the threshold, it's best that we get expert opinions. Okay, meaning going to the jewelers or asking someone who's an expert in the field to tell us what the zakat rate is of today, because the price of gold and silver do fluctuate day by day, so we shouldn't rely upon the websites fully, and we should get an expert opinion, inshallah. If you have any questions or any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Jazakallah khair.